Always great to be joined by Curt Cignetti. Coach, I know there's really no such thing as an off season, but for how long did you actually allow yourself and your team, the guys that are coming back, to celebrate and enjoy all the great things that they accomplished in 2024?
Well, the coaches got some time off after the old traditional signing date, and I'm one of the few guys that still give the coaches off for spring break. Of course, the players got to come back when they come back. So, we were finishing up that portal class, and for the players, it was back to work with a strength and conditioning program. So, coaches got a little break, but you don't get many.
No, not in this business, not in this day and age. You do not, and you dive right back into spring ball. You got the game coming up. What do you want to get out of that event? How live are you going to be? What is the format going to look like? And at the end of the day, what do you hope your team takes away from it?
Yeah, well, we'll play a half. That's what we've done the last 4 or 5 years. And we'll tackle. It'll be our first opportunity to tackle. We've kind of done it like this last 4 or 5 years. Last fall, we didn't tackle in August camp. We just tackled in this game. So just want to see it, nice and clean, penalty-free, guys flying around doing what they're supposed to do. Cut down on the mistakes, penalties, missed assignments, simplify things if we have to. Come out with nobody injured, obviously. And, it's just an opportunity to go out there and tackle.
Curt, I know for you, the quarterback question was answered before last season, a lot earlier than it was for those who weren't aware of what Curtis Rourke was and what he could be. We saw what that manifested itself into last year. What have you seen now from the guys that are competing to be his successor?
Well, Fernando Mendoza is a guy that started 2 years at Cal and put up good numbers. And I've really seen him take a major step in this last week of spring ball. And feel really good about where he's at right now. And his brother, Alberto, today would actually be the backup, redshirt freshman. So I like the progress he's made.
You also lose a couple of important, impactful guys at running back, but coming out of the portal, you get 2 veteran players who have been remarkably successful at their previous stops. Roman Hemby from Maryland, UAB transfer, Lee Beebe. When you look at that running back room, how comfortable are you right now with not just the talent and ability, but also the depth?
I think we're deep. Hemby, Beebe, Kalon Black, Martin, who will be a redshirt freshman. So we're pretty deep at that position. Those 2 guys last year did a nice job, but we've been pretty solid this spring.
At wide receiver, Curt, I think one of the most impressive players, not just in the Big Ten, but in the entire country last year, was Elijah Surratt. To see what he was able to do, even late in the year, when teams were double covering, finding ways to get open and make sure that he was available to catch the balls that Curtis was throwing. Where is he in terms of how can he get better and take the next step in his career?
He's a guy that's always working to get better, and I think he's concentrating on slimming down and becoming more body quick, explosive, and fast. He's had a good spring. He's been a good player for us for a while. I like our frontline guys. Omar Cooper Jr. is an explosive guy. Made some big plays last season. E.J. Williams is back, has made plays in the past, just got to stay healthy. And Charlie Becker's coming along, redshirt freshman. So we've been a little thin number-wise because, we lost a guy to a non-contact knee and had a ham on another guy that we were anxious to see. So, but I like our frontline receivers.
Up front, Curt, you have 2 impact players graduate. I know Evan's still dealing with that injury. That is typically a lengthy recovery, but you go into the portal and you get 3 guys who are immediate plug-and-play guys, and Khalil Benson, Pat Coogan, and Zen Mahalski. Plus, we know the job that Bob Bostad does, coaching all the O-line guys up. How confident are you in the fact that, based on what this O-line was able to do last year, that this group can do the same or even better?
No, I'm expecting more. I'm high on our line. Like you said, Drew Evans and Khalil did not practice this spring postseason surgery, be back in the fall. But I really like the way that group's progressed. I like its potential. Older guys played a lot of ball, have really done a nice job this spring. I'm high on our line.
Defensively, Curt, Mikhail Kamara has become an absolute game wrecker up front. So what's the next step for him, and who else can help him on that defensive front?
Yeah, we're playing him a little bit more into the bench, trying to create a few more one-on-ones with him where we don't have to slide him down and play, over the guard or inside the tackle. And, I just think creating one-on-ones, in the pass rush game will help him quite a bit. And, the biggest thing with him is just playing with a high motor, play in, play out. And he's been a tremendous player, and I expect him to have a big year.
Now, if he's the leader on the front four, we know at that linebacker position that Aiden Fisher is a guy that can do a little bit of everything, including lead. College football truly learned about what a special player he was last year. What makes him special, and how does he kind of bring the guys around him up to his level?
Yeah, I think without a doubt he is probably the #1 team leader, and I think we got 6, 7 guys with the potential and ability to be great leaders on the team. But he truly has like a quarterback mindset playing defense, played a little quarterback in high school, played a lot of positions. And, that's just a guy that it's always studying, preparing, has great instincts, thinks like a coach, does a lot of communication. He's always in the right place. Just tremendous football player.
Now, on the back end, D'Angelo Pons leads a remarkably veteran group. I know he's the big name. He had the big numbers last year. But you look at that entire secondary, Curt, and I think every guy that you're going to play back there can truly play at a high level. How much of a position of strength do you expect that back end to be for your defense this year?
Well, I hope so. And, the better our pass rush is, the better job they'll do. Pons has been a great player for a while now and had a really good spring. And like you said, we've got others. Farrell did a nice job for us at strong safety. Sharp's coming along at field corner. We got Lewis Moore at free safety, played here in the year before I arrived. And Boykin from NC State. And we've got couple backups, couple young backups we like too. So, I think that group's got some potential.
Curt, I know you've been doing this for a long time, and I think it's fair to say that freshmen that are coming in 2025, they look a little bit more physically developed than the guys that came in as 18-year-olds in 1985, and they're more ready to contribute right away. So which of the early enrollees that you've seen or true freshman guys that you have coming in the fall do you think can be impactful players potentially right off the jump?
Well, I'd hate to put that tag on any of them. They may be bigger, stronger, faster, but there's still a maturity component that comes into play. Because when you get used to playing with all those portal guys, especially with COVID, you're playing with 24, 23, 25-year-old kids. There's a big difference between a 17, 18-year-old. We've got a couple that have the ability to help us, depending on how quickly they can grow up.
I like that, keeping it under the vest. But since you went there with that chemistry part, I'm curious, from a coaching perspective, it worked so well last year. What was the secret to the sauce there that you guys were able to develop? It seemed like guys that came, and I know a lot of guys came with you, but there were also guys from other schools that just seemed to fit in and click much more quickly than we saw at other schools that went heavily into the transfer portal. Why did it work so well for you?
Well, I think the 13 JMU guys probably is where it starts, and then a lot of the other transfers we knew. We had a history through recruiting when we were at JMU, or coaches on the staff that were with guys at Texas Tech. The Wake Forest guys we knew. And then, the right guys stayed. And, that group had a chip on its shoulder. Now, this is a new group. We don't know some of these guys quite as well. We're getting to know them, and we know them a lot better now here at the end of spring. But we got some real quality guys on this team that have the right stuff, have great leadership ability that can play. And we got a lot of the pieces we need, and we just got to kind of commit to the process and get better every day and be humble and hungry.
It was one of the great stories in all of college football in 2024. Curt, can't wait to see what the next chapter holds in 2025. IU head man Curt Cignetti. Curt, always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Rick.